Hello, my fellow preppers. Welcome back to another edition of The Art of Prepping. We're just going to talk about what is the right size for you for everyday carry in terms of your blades. So we have small blades, medium blades, and large blades. Some people even go with extra large blades, even though the majority of people recognize that's not really the most user-friendly knife just because of weight and bulk. Now, like right here before us, we have this Gerber. This is a little paraframe, and this is what I would consider a small knife. You know, it has the ability to cut open boxes with no problem, open letters and cut rope, and pretty much probably 60 to 80% easily of what you would need for an everyday carry knife. But the thing about this, like this one in particular, there's no easy one-hand opening method really. It's just a nail nick type of design. And yes, it has a pocket clip, which is a bonus. But as you can see, for me personally, it's more of a three-fingered knife, and it's so thin and so lightweight. Not that lightweight is really bad. It's just, I guess if I fold with it enough, I could get it open with one hand. But it's just one of those things. It's not what you would really call form-fitting for my particular hand, my particular needs. And would you carry maybe something like this as a backup knife? You could, and a lot of people do. And I think it's not the worst idea possible, but I think that is just what it is, just a backup knife. Now, let's jump to I'm not saying this is the extreme, because this is more of considered a large knife, at least in my opinion. And by no means as large as they get, but just like take this for example, the Spider Coast Bird line. This is the Cara 2, and this has a pretty decent blade. I mean, we've seen this, and to me, this really is hand filling and more. And is this a little bit big? I personally carry this quite a bit. I have to say, I'm surprised. I carry this more than that little Gerber, for example. It has lots of capabilities. You could put this in a self-defense type of fighting role if you had to. I think it would be pretty much a last-ditch type of effort to preserve my life if I had to do that. But nonetheless, it's lightweight. You can put it in packs if you didn't want to keep it in your pocket. But keep it in just like a trousers pocket or even short pockets. I've never really had it pull down my pants, or I have any kind of problems with it. It resists rust really well, and it's just HCR 13 MOV. I'm okay with it. Now, there's a lot of knives that size that are much heavier. There's a few that are lighter, but this is probably more of an exception for just being a little bit lighter than a standard size knife that particular dimension. Now, that being said, what about talking about maybe a mid-sized knife like this K-Bar Dozer right here? This is the Hunter model. And I think this is probably a good in-between. As you can see, there's a difference there of probably about 3/4 of an inch roughly. And I think this is a good option, just something that would have, and I guess for me personally, that sweet spot, and I hear this from a lot of people, it's between that 2.5 to 3.5 inch blade. And I think that's going to be really kind of a universal size for most people's hands. Like this Meadowlark 2 with the by Bird. I think this is just like this Dozer here, just something that's that middle ground that you get just enough for a full purchase, and you have control, and you get that usability of the blade, and voila, it works magically. Everything falls into place. Now, even though I would say that something like this size would be more between the handle size, for example, like between 4 and 4.5 inches, for me personally is kind of the ideal size. But maybe you have different needs. But this is just kind of a thought, and just a discussion here about, everybody has preferences, and these preferences kind of lead you to different types of styles and different size blades. And I know some people just don't even really want a bigger knife, but they just love the look of some of them. I know a person personally that loves that Code Steel Talwar, the full-size one too. And he doesn't carry it all the time, but there's a lot of times he does. And for me, that's just very excessive. That's a very much more of a fighting knife, last-ditch type of self-defense tool. But, I guess you can put almost any knife in that role if you had to. Some knives just lend better, though, than others. For me, I've never got into the Karampets style knives, and I don't typically carry a lot of fixed blades on me on an everyday carry. even though this is more about pocket knives, I will have to say, though, that I think that for most people, at least 90% at least, probably just find their needs met with a good, sturdy pocket knife, be it a liner lock, frame lock, lock back, or whatever. And so, what are your thoughts on this? What size do you think is that sweet spot? And do you think that, having a backup blade is a good idea? I personally think so. But everybody has their ideas. I think you should have probably a smaller blade as a backup, and then maybe like a mid-sized blade as your primary. Or every once in a while, like I do, I just have, what I consider a large or definitely a full size. And I never get that urge, nor do I have a large selection of the extra large folder blades, so I don't really mess with those. But I could maybe see something like that, maybe in a go bag or a tactical bag or a loadout bag, maybe. But I think in those situations, you would want the strongest blades possible, and maybe want to go with more of a fixed blade. But that's just my opinion. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.